The New York Knicks might win their first basketball championship in decades. The Carolina Hurricanes are in a dangerous position in the NHL playoffs. And for the first time in SportSense history, we're talking soccer.
It's time to get some
SportSense.
You're gonna get some
SportSense.
You better get ready for
SportSense. SportSense.
Welcome back to SportSense, everyone. This is the show where we break down sports news for sports noobs. I'm Cooper Epps, here to learn about sports and sports culture from my dad, James Epps. Let's get into it. Welcome back. This is the last week of the Stanley Cup Finals and NBA Finals. I think by next episode, there'll be winners decided in both.
Game 3.
We might be one
It'd be
game
next
off.
week, yeah.
Dang.
It could be middle, if it goes game 7s.
Okay.
But right now, you never know.
Yeah, so we're close, really, really close. This is the epic conclusion of basketball and hockey. We talked about it a lot last week. So actually, what's also going on this week is the FIFA World Cup is starting, which is obviously big deal every 4 years. And it involves countries from all around the world. It's almost as big of an event as the Olympics, except for it's just soccer. So with that in mind, we are actually going to talk mostly about soccer tonight. We're going to cover that with my brother Caleb. He's going to sub out Dad because he's really the only soccer fan in our family. And so that's what's going on tonight. So before we get into that with Caleb, we're going to give you a quick update on what's going on with the NBA and NHL finals. So, Dad, you want to start with hockey or with basketball?
Basketball.
Okay. And we're both sick, so pardon our voices. But yeah, let's talk a little bit about basketball. Dad, remind the people who is playing.
Yeah,
what's
the
going
people. The people, so it's the New York Knicks versus the San Antonio Spurs. We talked about them before. The Spurs, they're probably a year or two ahead of their rebuild they were doing based around Wembanyama. They're 7'4", that some call 7'5", some call 7'6". Apparently he's at least 7'4", freak of nature, and he's doing great. He's only 22 years old. The other two stars are age 20 and 21. So they are young. And I think they're showing a little bit, especially Wembanyama is showing a little bit of his lack of refinement and what he'll learn in offense. Defense, he's amazing, but offense, he's got a ways to go. But he's still not even matured into a full man. And you learn so much. And there's just so many tricks to the trade of big men in the NBA. So interesting enough, the last game. So right now, the Knicks went to San Antonio and won 2 games in a row. So they were the visiting team, and they won the first 2 games of the series.
Wow.
So it's 2-0. And they come back to New York tonight. So this is the first game, game 3 in Madison Square Garden, which we briefly mentioned before. Phenomenal. It's the most historic basketball venue in our country and in the world, really, for pro basketball. So that's very exciting. But what happened, especially the last game, interesting enough, the Spurs were leading down the stretch of both games. In fact, some point during the game, they had double-figure leads.
Ooh.
But the Knicks have shown the last 2 minutes, even the whole fourth quarter, but especially the last 2 minutes of their games in this entire playoffs, they dominate. I mean, Brunson leaves them. He's the spark plug. He's their main guy that dictates it, gets the energy up.
Jalen Brunson.
Yeah,
right.
He's amazing. Anyway, so interesting enough, they said, and I tell you, you got to really have good computer programs, incredible historic data put in. But I heard a stat this morning. It's the first time it's ever happened in an NBA final, not in the NBA, but NBA final, that a player made an error, had a foul, and missed a game-winning shot all in less than 30 seconds.
Oh, wow.
And that's what Wembanyama did. He got a rebound. They were 1 point down. They were heading down the court, and he was throwing it up to one of his teammates who didn't know he was throwing it up to him and hit him in the back.
Oh, man.
That's the turnover.
Okay.
Then when that player, the Knicks player got a hold of it, right? So turnover, he got a hold of it, turned around, and Wembanyama ran into him, fouled him.
Okay.
And he made one free throw. And then so he made one free throw. They might have been tied. Maybe made one free throw to take a lead. Bottom line is he then got the ball. This is all in 36-second span. He then got the ball in the inbound pass over to him. and he took a not a bad deep shot. It wasn't too bad, too deep.
Yeah.
Reasonable shot he can make, and he missed it.
Yeah.
So he did all that in 30
So
seconds.
he basically floundered around for 30
He
seconds
did,
and messed up a
and I
little bit.
think he struggled some to finish the last.
It was the pressure, probably, huh?
He says
Yeah.
not, but it's just again, especially offensively, he's got some refining. He'll get better and better and be scary. But so that's what happened. They desperately needed a split, right? At least get one game at home.
Yeah.
And they didn't. So but now and they've played 5 times this year, and the Knicks have won 4. So they kind of have their number. And everybody thinks, not everybody, a lot of people, the Knicks fans are scared to say it's over and they're going to win it.
Yeah.
They're just spooked, right? Remember, it went
Yeah.
1973 or 4. I told you last time they won a championship.
Yeah.
So.
They don't want to mess anything up.
So
no jinx.
There's a great guy I love on Fox Sports. He's a massive Knicks fan, but he's been around 30, 40 years or 35 years ago. So anyway, he was so funny. The other co-hosts were egging him on and saying, come on, it's over, it's over. He goes, it is not over. And he's screaming at him. Anyway, it was funny. So that's where we are. They play tonight in Madison Square Garden. What makes this a unique game? And then there's lots of, you can imagine a lightning rod this is going to be. But Trump's going.
Oh,
he
boy.
wants to be there. So how, that changed everything. They had to cancel the outside, what they've been doing, the outside viewing, what they call it, the party. For fans who couldn't get in.
Yeah.
They've done it.
I don't know.
They've had concerts. They've had all this pregame stuff outside.
Really,
they had to cancel that for security reasons.
Wow.
Excuse me. And then, of course, it changes security. Everybody's got to come way early and get security in there.
Wow.
Of course, there's people who are saying they shouldn't go. Of course, especially the Trump haters.
Is he going as a Knicks fan, I guess?
I don't know.
He just wants to
be there.
Some good basketball.
Yeah. Well, I don't know.
He's a New York guy.
Oh, yeah. He's probably a Knicks fan. He wants to be there. I mean, this is history.
Yeah.
I mean, this is mega history. So everybody's thinking, I'll wrap it up with this. Knicks fans, they either want to make sure they win tonight, and in 2 days, they play 2 days, should play Wednesday night. Next 2 games and sweep and be done and win it at home.
In New York, yeah.
Yes. If they win one game and then they lose, then they got to go back 1 game to San Antonio, and they don't want to win it there. So they want to win either game 4 here at home or game 6 at home.
Just so they can party with the city.
Yeah, just to do it in Madison Square Garden with their local fans. Anyway, that's the scoop.
I'm sure they'll be happy with the championship.
Yeah. I'm just saying, they're getting greedy when they're talking like that. But it is pretty cool to see them if they win it there.
Yeah.
So tonight will be they still can do it.
Right now?
The Spurs can do it at 8:30. Yep, they play at 8:30.
Oh, okay. Okay, so the game hasn't even tipped off yet.
It should be about to tip off right now.
Yeah, they're probably singing the national anthem right now.
So anyway,
cool.
So that's the big stuff tonight about the game. Trump, if the Spurs win, they're still in. They're definitely, if they win tonight, they're definitely in this championship. If they lose, yeah, it's a done deal.
Yeah,
New York's not going to lose 3 in a row to them after they beat them 4 out of 5 this year.
Yeah.
So pretty exciting. Very exciting. Again, historic franchise, historic venue. Been 50 years, 53 years.
President of the USA.
President of the United States there. It's
crazy.
Anyway, the world is looking at us anyway with FIFA. There's people coming into New York City now for the games that'll become upcoming. So that's pretty cool. So that's it. I don't think there's much more to talk about. We just have that's what we're down to.
That's true that New York is on fire right now as far as the city goes. It's got to be flooded with people right now. So cool. Okay. Well, there's the NBA update. We will probably have a winner decided. It's possible that there won't be, but probably a winner decided by next week's episode. And we'll talk about the ramifications of that. So, okay, let's finish up this segment before going into the World Cup stuff by talking about the NHL finals. Okay, this is Carolina Hurricanes versus the Las Vegas Golden Knights. I guess they just go by VGK, Vegas Golden Knights is what they call them.
Yeah.
So currently, just the elevator pitch short story is that Vegas is leading the series 2-1. Hurricanes won one of their home games, and now they're in Vegas about to play the second away game. So game 4, which is in Vegas. So statistically, you told me this.
Yep.
That, and they were advertising this all over the game the other night. Whoever wins, when the series is tied 1-1 and you go into a game 3, historically, 77% of the teams that won game 3
in the Stanley Cup Finals
have gone on to win the whole thing.
Correct.
So that's a pretty huge, the odds are definitely in Vegas's favor right now.
Basically 3-to-1 odds. Yeah.
Yeah. So so Hurricanes have a little bit of climbing out to do. Now, the only reason it's worth spending a little bit extra time on this is because I watched a bunch of videos on this. Of course, as a Canes fan, I've been obsessing over the loss that happened, because what happened real quick, and Dad, you went to bed for this. And
Yes.
I went to bed before the really exciting thing happened, which is that Vegas was up 4-0 in the third and final period of the game. Period was almost halfway done. I think there's 12 or 13 minutes left in the game. And so Macy and I, we just call it, it's midnight here in North Carolina. We decide to go to bed. Anyways, we do our little bedtime ritual, we do our teeth and all that kind of stuff. Get ready, climb in bed. And I just take one peek at my phone just in case, see if anything has happened. And I see that within the past 2 minutes or whatever it had been, there were 3 goals. Turns out in the actual game time, it was 39 seconds of game that the Hurricanes scored 3 times.
That seems impossible
Which,
still to me.
yeah, with more than 10 minutes left in the game, so plenty of hockey left to get one more goal and tie it up.
Yeah.
And so if they had won, that would have been one of the greatest Stanley Cup final comebacks in hockey history. The only one that would have held a candle to it was like 40 something years ago. I can't remember which team, but they came back from like a 5-0 deficit and won. So anyways, the place was going crazy. Well, I shouldn't say that. Vegas, since it was in Vegas, it actually was going real quiet. They were all
Right. I bet they were.
they all
They had
had
to be
their
stunned.
yeah.
It's high.
As I heard one announcer say, or commentator say, their butts were puckered. is
Yeah,
what he said.
absolutely.
So it goes into double overtime, and the Hurricanes, they actually don't even lose. It doesn't even feel fair, because the way the last goal is scored is Vegas just kind of threw the puck down towards Hurricanes goalie. It missed the net by a mile, and it hit the back wall behind the goal, bounced back towards him, and it hit our goalie's skate and bounced into the goal. It was just a really unlucky bounce for Carolina. So that one hurt. And I watched several videos where people were just like, in hockey, sometimes it doesn't matter how hard you try, how hard you work, how well you play. Sometimes just a bounce just doesn't go your
Bounce of the
way.
puck. Yeah.
So that was heartbreaking. So anyways, I think the Hurricanes still have plenty of fight with them. They've got a couple days now to reset, focus in, lock in, and go into game 4, hopefully to tie the series back and give themselves a good chance at.
I think what gives them better than the past, maybe against the odds. How can you imagine the confidence they must have being down? They were down 4-0
Yeah.
and pounded 3 goals. So they know they can score like crazy on them. They just got to get the right recipe and mix going at that moment. They had to probably have a little bit of luck with that too, but still, you can then they come back and tie it, go into a double overtime, right? So there's 2 instant classics in a row right here in this turn. So I think they're very confident. I think there's one big question. I know there's one big question. You said they pulled Anderson, the goalie, and put Busey in, right?
Bussy. Well, at least I hear most people say Bussy.
Bussy. Well, that's what's going around now. And Rod Brindamore is the head coach. He is not going to tell anybody what he's going to do.
Right.
But that's the question: who's going to start the game and goal?
That is the big.
That's the big question. So that we'll set that up for tomorrow night. It'll be interesting to see.
Yeah.
So my guess, I think he's going to put Bussy in.
Yeah.
I just think there's just too. You got to go with the hot, and he did
played
his
great.
Yeah, he had to play great because he was down for. They didn't let anybody score, and then it was an own goal score that he could not have helped.
Yeah.
So nobody scored on him once time he got in, and Anderson gave up 4. Now he's going to be shell shocked. He can't be, but he can't help it. As great as he is,
that was a messy game. In fact, there were 2 other goals that Vegas scored, or they got it at least in the net, but then they were taken back by the refs because there was a coach's challenge. It turns out there was different things that Vegas did wrong, that their goals were disallowed, as I learned that they say. And so Anderson basically faced 6 goals in a period.
Right.
Essentially. And so his head is probably, he's got to be so exhausted. I was also reading that the Stanley Cup playoffs are about, I don't know if it's like this in other sports, but the length of the playoffs, if you go all the way through the finals, is about 25% of the regular season.
Yeah, it's the longest in many of our major sports. Not even close. The playoffs.
So yeah, that amount of
Yeah.
that it's just so long, and he's got to be
And
so tired.
Bussy is rested and,
Yeah, he's
and
fresh.
fired up. I think they're going to start Bussy. That's my prediction. And I think the Canes are going to jump on them. And I think they're going to win this game by 2 or 3 goals. I think they're
All
going to
right,
blister them. That's my prediction.
heck yeah.
And then they go back to Raleigh, and then we'll see what happens. I think they can be on fire, but I think they'll do that. That's
Yeah.
how I think they'll respond.
They're at least
They're
gonna
just
they're gonna
too
fight their
good.
hearts out.
They're
Yeah.
just too good.
There was one big injury. Nobody, you guys don't even
But
need to know his name,
right.
but there was a big injury in the Hurricanes that we'll see if that player
But
comes
they
back.
can. But if he doesn't, they can plan for it now
Yeah.
on the lines.
Uh-huh,
Right?
get
They
it.
can get their lines set, and then go with it.
I forget what they call them in hockey, but basically they have a few backups that
Yeah.
are ready to come into the lineup
Yeah.
if they need to. But
So anyway,
cool.
exciting times.
Well, that's the quick scoop on NBA and NHL. We're gonna get Dad out of here and get Caleb in to talk about the structure and the setup of the FIFA World Cup, because honestly, soccer's not that big in the States, and that's why we've never won a World Cup as a country. We're not even a very favored contender this year. Anyways,
Yeah.
point is soccer's not huge in the States, and so a lot of you guys probably are at a place where I am, where we just have no idea what to even watch or look for when it comes on. So, with that, Caleb, let's get you in here. Caleb, welcome to SportSense. I feel like you've been here before, but have you? I can't remember.
Glad to be here. I think I've had some honorable mentions throughout the podcast, but I have never actually been here. So happy to be here.
Oh, wow. Crazy. Okay. And faceless, but we're grateful to have your audio. I'll try to put up a picture of his pretty face right here. Not AI edited at all.
It looks just like yours.
Yeah, very similar. We pretty much all have the same nose. Well, Caleb, there's so much to say about you, but for the sake of this episode, I want you to tell us what made you a soccer fan, because it's not one of our family traditions really at all.
Yeah, you're right. I think our family is much more into football and baseball and hockey even. What made me a soccer fan? Oh man, just I loved the chaos, at least when it felt like chaos of soccer growing up. I thrived in that chaos. And I really liked the team aspect that you can kind of control the chaos a little bit, uh, and um, and the game didn't really stop. I liked that there was no stoppage. You just went and went and went until until you scored, or I guess still the ball went out of bounds. But even then, it's a very quick re-entry. So yeah, I think I just like the chaos, and I like that it didn't stop a whole lot.
Right on. Okay, so you played a lot growing up. You played all through high school, I guess, right?
I played through high school, and then like our family is more into football. I actually switched to be the kicker of the football team in high school, or at the very end of high school. But never lost the love of watching the game. And then after or during college, I started on the medical route, and then had to give up everything in my life to pursue medicine. So,
Yeah. Well, a noble cause for sure, but perhaps even more noble is your family life, which we won't get too into detail here on the internet. But yeah, you're a family man, which we appreciate, and that's I think maybe even more demanding of your energy. It seems like so. So thank you for your service there.
absolutely.
um, okay, well, cool. Well, yeah, thanks for bringing your soccer expertise. As many people know, this is definitely a family show. I try to bring on friends when I can, but I love when I can bring on family. And so, uh, yeah, and Caleb, I've never cared, as you know, about soccer. So, I'm trying to get out of my comfort zone, and I really I do want to learn from you this year. So, okay, well, let me set it up for, I didn't say it clearly enough already. If you haven't heard, the FIFA World Cup of 2026, and that's important because it's every 4 years, kind of like the Olympics. So it's not every year. So this year's FIFA World Cup starts this week. So in just 3 or 4 days. And I want to make sure I want to make sure we all are comfortable with what even it is, because I've seen it before. I've seen it on screens at work like 4 years ago. Everybody had their team on their screen in their office. And I don't know. It's silly. Like, I know it's just a simple tournament. And as we can see here on the screen, it's a bracket like any tournament. But I just don't understand which countries are allowed in. and how do they pick players to go on the teams? Is it like picking an Olympic team? Anyways, stuff like that that I want you to get into. So for anybody that's like me who has almost zero exposure to soccer, especially the professional world of soccer, Caleb, I'm going to let you take it away. Tell us kind of just the basic structure and setup of the FIFA World Cup. Also, it says I'm reconnecting right now, so if uh if you can't hear me, that's why. Okay. Oh man. Dang it. Let's see. Man, this Wi-Fi is crazy. Okay. Hmm. Dang. Okay. All right. So if any of you guys are like me, you just might not even understand like or have a mental picture of what the World Cup looks like how many teams are in it, how it's structured, how a country is even allowed to participate in it because obviously it's not every country in the world, although it kind of feels like that in my mind for some reason. So, Caleb, I'm going to let you take it away. Tell us what the heck the FIFA World Cup is all about.
Yeah, so one of the most exciting events in the world. It has an extremely large viewership. You know, makes the NFL Sunday, look like a dwarf, right? Um, it is, like you said, worldwide, but there are only certain teams that get in. This year's World Cup is extra special because the FIFA has actually expanded it to 48 teams for the first time. Usually, it's 32 teams. So they've added 16 teams to the mix, which is a big deal. So how does a country get into the World Cup? Is the first question. um, it's a little complicated, but essentially each continent has its own kind of ruling soccer organization. So you may have heard of terms like UEFA, that's the European soccer organization. You might have heard of CONCACAF, which is like North
No.
America. So
Okay.
it's Mexico, the United States,
Wait.
Canada, and some of the Caribbean countries.
Okay.
South America is CONMEBOL, and so these are all essentially like the NFL, right? So if you had the NFL in different countries or different continents, they would all have different names. So that's what all these names are that you'll hear a lot. And Africa has its own, Asia has its own, and then there's like an Oceania, which includes all the kind of Pacific islands. So each of these
Okay.
organizations have an amount of slots that are given depending on their size and competitive natures of their leagues. So of all of those, Cooper, Europe, U.S. Or North America, South America, Asia, like which one do you think would have the most slots given? Which one do you think is the most competitive in soccer?
Europe or
Definitely.
Brazil. I mean, I've heard about Brazil. Oh, sorry. Okay.
Yes. No, you're spot on. So yeah, Europe has 16 spots that it gives for the World Cup. So that's why when you're looking at the teams in here, it's usually dominated by European teams, and that's why they're allowed 16, whereas like Africa is like 9, North America is 8, and then it goes down from there, like under 8 essentially. So so Europe is by far the most represented continent in UEFA, and there's good reason. All of the greatest players that are playing in the World Cup typically play their club soccer in Europe.
Okay.
So that's where they go to get really good. So anyways, each continent, so 6 continents, we're subtracting Antarctica here because there's maybe one soccer player on Antarctica, but
Right.
um each of these continents have qualifying rounds that you have to win a certain amount to qualify for the World Cup. Um,
Your
each
country. So, like, in the UEFA one or whatever, if I'm the country of Poland, I'm a contender for that at that
Yep,
stage.
yep.
Okay.
So essentially, this starts somewhere between 2 and 3 years before the World Cup. So these qualifying campaigns began back in 2023, trying to make the 2026 World Cup. And
Whoa.
so
Okay.
every few months to 6 months, there will be a qualifying match where you call up players from all over the world that are playing all over the world, but that are from your country, and then you go play other countries, and you tally those, and there's points given for wins and draws, and no points for losses. And then at the end of the campaigning period, they look at the amount of points you have, and again, depending on where you're from, the top X get in. So, for UEFA, it'll be the top 16. For the North
Right.
American, it'll be the top. They do it a little differently, but essentially the top 8. There are some like play in kind of spots you can get, but so that's essentially it. So you have a campaign 2 to 3 years, starts 2 to 3 years before the World Cup. And if you win enough matches and tie enough matches, get enough points, you qualify. The one
Okay.
difference for that is the host country gets an automatic qualification. So this year, the host
Okay.
countries were the combo of United States, Canada, and Mexico. So all 3 of them have an automatic bid. They could have lost in every game in the qualifying period, but and still get in. So that's the only difference, and that's why being a host country is a big deal, because you get an automatic entry into the World Cup.
Okay.
So that's how you get in. You have to do well in your continent's soccer organization qualifying matches, and that happens about again 2 to 3 years before the actual World
Man.
Cup.
So who are the athletes that are able to just give 2 to 3 years of their lives to this? Like, do you get like, do you try to? I always dad always laughs because I use the word audition. Do you audition for the team at the beginning of this process, and then if you get on, you basically are paid to play for the next few years, or what?
So
Like,
all of
where do
these
these athletes come
players,
from?
yeah, during their campaigning period, they are still playing for their club teams. So they'll play. Let's say they'll play 2 games one week, and then they get a call from, like, for example, France. They get a call from the French manager. Hey, we have a qualifying match against Belgium in 2 weeks. We want you on the team. We want you there. You say okay. You go talk to your club manager. You say, hey, I got called up, and they all know what it means. Like, this isn't like a vague
Mm.
thing. And they say perfect, and then you might miss a club match in 2 weeks to play for your country. But then as soon as that
Oh,
match is over, you go back and you're back in your club team. So you're not fully invested in the national team. And I should say those qualifying matches are also kind of your tryouts, right? So they want to, the coaches are using those qualifying matches to try different players, try different positions, try different lines and strategies. And so it's also kind of a test for them as well. A
yeah.
player who plays in those qualifying matches, therefore, might not necessarily get to go play in the World Cup. Um, so yeah, there's a lot to it. So how does a single
Okay.
individual player actually make the team? That's a very kind of a complicated process, but essentially there's you play really well for your club, and you get attention brought on to you
Mhm.
from how
Just by
well you're
being
playing
good.
at your club. And I will
Yeah.
say most national team coaches are looking at the European clubs, right? So they're looking at the Premier League, which is like the highest soccer league in England. They're looking at Serie A, which is in Italy. So they're looking at all these leagues, and they're seeing who are the best players from their countries in those leagues. And the United States is the same, right? So we are looking at who do we have right now playing in Europe, and then they'll really focus on them, see if they want them on their teams. But yeah, that's kind of how you get on the team. It's extremely difficult. I mean, think about the United States, right? There's millions of youth soccer players, and
Yeah.
only 23, I think, make these national teams. So you have to be very good. You have to be playing in the top levels, and it's usually Europe, not all the time, but usually Europe, to get called
Yeah.
up.
Europe to soccer is like New York to okay, no. It's more like LA to movie makers or something like that. Right? It's
Yeah,
like
or going back to our NFL analogy, if you are a 6'5", 240-pound defensive end, but you're playing in Spain, you want to come
yeah.
to the United States to play in the NFL because that's where you're going to get the most
Yeah, yeah.
attention. You're going to get the most money. You're going to get the most. You're going to get better because that's where all the competition is.
It's like
So
Paris for chefs.
Paris
Yeah,
for
yeah,
chefs,
I get
yes.
it. It's the hub. It's the ultimate place to be a soccer player.
Yes. Now,
Yeah.
South anyone from South America is not going to like me saying that, but yes, that's the for just this basic general overview. That is the basic idea.
Cool. Okay.
Um, Again, sorry, one more thing about individual players. So yes, you get called up from your club, but a lot of these players, Cooper, have been playing with these club organizations since they're 11 or 12.
Whoa.
They can get pulled into, let's say, Chelsea is a club soccer team in England, based in London, near London, and you can have a player who's identified at the age of 11 or 12 from just their normal little league, rec league team, and get pulled into their system, and that player can play with their U15 team, their U17 team, their U20, their U23, and then from those, that is the farm essentially from which the pro club teams pull their talent. And so
Dang.
you have a kid that's been playing, for 5 to 10 years in your system. They know your system, and then is ready to go. These national teams
Wow.
work kind of similarly. So, like, we have a U.S. national U17 team that plays in the U17 World Cup, and the United States coaching staff is looking at those players, right, to kind of get another pool of possibilities. So those are generally the two ways that an individual can get kind of identified to play on the team.
That's crazy. It's like kind of dystopian. Like the way you use the word farming, you know? It's like yeah, we're farming soccer players. We're gonna harvest them early, and hopefully by the time that they're 20, they're in good shape to make our country proud.
Yeah, it's true. It's true. But yeah,
Crazy.
so that's how the individuals get the team, and that's how the teams get to the World Cup,
Okay.
essentially.
Cool. So yeah, tell us a little bit about what we're looking at here. A lot of people listen in, so try to describe it. I'm seeing a lot of boxes. So what do these boxes represent? Like how many? I guess the core question that I texted you is how many games do I have to win? Let's say I'm USA men's team. Oh, and by the way, is this men's and women's or like what is this bracket? Is it only men's in the FIFA World Cup?
Yes, so this bracket is the men's World Cup. There is women's World Cup,
Okay.
and that happens on the off years. Men's World Cup happens every 4 years, and so the women's is also staggered. But every 2 years you have a World Cup. One's women's, one's men's.
Okay.
So yeah, this is the men's. So how many games does it take to become a World Cup champion? Well, the question is it sort of depends. Or how many games you have to win? That depends. But how many games you play? It's going to be 8. You have 5 in the knockout stage, which is like the center bracket, which most of your viewers would be familiar if they watch like March Madness, right? So
Okay.
round of
Yeah.
32 is one game, round of 16 is a second game, quarterfinals a third game, semifinals a fourth game, and the finals a fifth game. So if there's
So
5 games right
single.
here.
Sorry, I was just gonna say single game elimination is what we're.
Yes, yep. These are win or
Okay.
go home. That's why they call it the knockout stage. So
Okay.
if you're sitting around with your family, extended family, in-laws at dinner, and they talk about the knockout stage, they're talking about this bracket right here. And then
Okay.
everybody, no matter win, lose, or draw, everybody gets guaranteed 3 games in the group stage. So that's why these are called groups. Essentially, of the 48 teams that are in the World Cup, they're all listed here, you get divided into a group of 4. So group A, B, C, D, all the way to L. Each team will play each other team in that group once. So you're guaranteed 3 games there. No matter if you just do terribly the whole time, you will play 3 games. So you don't have to necessarily win all 3 of these games, but you want to try to win your group. And winning your group gets you into, you want to be the top 2 in your group. So getting the top 2 in your group gets you into the round of 32. So how do
Okay.
you get the top 2 of your group? Well, you get more points than the other people. So a win gets you 3 points, a tie gets you 1 point, and a loss gives you 0.
Okay.
If there's a tie, you go to the goal differential. So the goal differential is, well, both, Mexico and South Africa both beat, both have 2 wins, but Mexico scored 10 goals and only gave up 2, and South Africa scored 5 goals and gave up 4. So, Mexico would be topped there.
Okay.
So that's the goal. So you're going to play and that's called the group stage. So if you hear people talking about the group stage, that's what they're talking about. Whenever you see a random game on TV, and you will see a lot of the games on TV in the next few weeks, for the first couple weeks, pay attention to what group it is. And the announcers usually do a good job, like telling you what's at stake. Oh, USA needs to win this game, and Australia needs to lose in order to have USA move on. And so you can kind of get an idea of the stakes of each game in the group stage. If you look at the little ticker of where the scores are at the top of the screen, they'll often say that, Paraguay advances with an Australian loss and a Turkey tie or something like that.
Okay.
So that's the group stage. So yeah, so 8 games. You don't have to win them all. You have to win all of them in the knockout stage, but you just need enough points in the group stage to move into the knockout stage.
Okay. Cool. Interesting. So, wow, you fight for years and years and years just to get into one of these groups. And then you have to win your group in a series to then get into like a standard single game elimination bracket. That's crazy.
And there's one loophole to that, Coop. Sorry, not to make this too complicated, but there are they will count, because if you do that math, that's only 24 teams, right? If the top 2 of each group make it. So, but it's a round of 32, right? So where's that extra 8 come from? So they actually will take the best, the 8 best third place teams. So they'll look through all the groups, and the point, and then if for all the third place teams, they'll put them in order of points, and the 8 highest points will actually get to move on as well.
Okay. So yeah, that's where like every single goal really matters.
Every
especially
goal matters.
In this new expansion. Yeah, because that can bump you up to one of those 8 bonus points if you don't win your group.
So, for example, if you see the Netherlands and they're beating Tunisia 10-2, you don't need to be thinking, "Oh, they're jerks," right? They're just trying to secure, because maybe they'll lose to Japan and lose to Sweden, but if they had enough, if they had a higher goal differential than the other teams, then that might be what it takes to put them through. So yeah,
wow,
every goal matters.
Cool. Okay. So no mercy, no mercy at all.
No mercy.
You can pummel them.
So that's it. One quick thing about this triumvirate host city thing. This is a little bit new too. FIFA decided to have all 3. I think largely because there was a scandal several years ago where certain countries essentially were buying their hostability, and so all three of our countries over here in North America got very upset about that. So this is sort of a nod to us as North America. But even with this,
Okay.
and so just to not get your viewership confused, this is largely United States World Cup. Here's all the sites down here, and 11 of these sites are the U.S. Two are in Canada, and three are in Mexico. So
Okay.
most of the World Cup will be being played in the U.S.
Cool. Yeah, and that's how, because there's been a lot of talk about ticket prices and yeah, Americans going to the games. And in fact, let's take a quick interjection to say, tell us about the game that you are going to.
So we tried to find a relatively cheap ticket, and that ended up being with Group K in Atlanta. When we bought the ticket, in order for it to be cheap, we couldn't know who was playing, so they were both to be determined. But we finally found
Mystery
out
box.
what match we're going to go see. We're going to go see Uzbekistan play the Congo right
Okay.
here. So,
Yeah, yeah,
and
yeah.
it's going to be one of the later games in the knockout, or sorry, in the group stage. So hopefully one of these teams is contending to make it, so that we can,
Okay.
maybe cheer them on after the U.S. But yeah,
Yeah.
that's the game we're going to.
Cool. Okay. Congo. All right. Right on. Right on. Right on. Group K. That's so. That's what's been interesting. Anyways, I digress. Just I just want to bring up the point that I feel like it's hard to be a soccer fan because of this. Like, it's not like a franchise. Like, it doesn't. Anyways, that's a bigger conversation. We'll have a bigger soccer conversation later on. But,
We can,
um,
yes.
okay. So
Can I talk
there
about
might
who?
be
Can I talk about who you might want to cheer for
sure.
other
Yeah.
than the U.S.?
Yeah. Yeah. Yeah.
So obviously cheering for your home country is a lot of fun, but just real quick, who you should know is kind of the favorites going into the World Cup. Currently, and this is typical of most World Cup years, typically you look at the 2024 European Championship winner as like sort of the front runner. So
Okay.
the 2024 Euros is essentially a World Cup, but it's only for European countries, right? So it's a um, very similar layout and format, but it's only the European countries, and that happens also staggered with the World Cup. So
Okay.
Spain was the winner of the 2024 Euros, and that might be handy for you to know if you were a betting
Yeah.
person or just to sound smart at your next family function. So
Okay.
Spain is definitely one of the front runners. You also look at who won the last World Cup, and that was Argentina. So they're definitely somebody to look out for. Lionel Messi may have a reduced role with the team this year, so he might not be as prominent as he was 4 years ago.
Okay.
But Spain and Argentina are kind of two you always want to look out for. And then France has reached the World Cup finals in the last two World Cups. So in
Wow.
2022 and 2018, France had reached the finals each time. So
Okay.
they're always. And then yes, Coop, you mentioned Brazil earlier. They're kind of always around. Little flaky, but yeah, they're always around. So I'd say Spain, Argentina, France, Brazil, and then after that you have
Okay.
like, you know, Netherlands is always strong, Portugal is always strong. The U.S. typically can make, we'd be pretty happy if we make it out of the group stage and then maybe win one or two. I hope they
Yeah.
go really far, but it's not typically been the pattern.
I saw a YouTube. I didn't even watch it, but just the title of the YouTube video was "Why the U.S. Men's National Team Isn't Legit" or something, or is not a legit contender. I think is what it said.
Yeah.
So, and I've never heard of them. Yeah, talked as in in as high regards as any of those teams that you mentioned. So, why is that? Like, you would think, is it just because we're so into other sports that we aren't raising better soccer players?
Yeah, I mean that's $1 million question. After the last World Cup, there was a lot of anger. A coach got fired. So yeah, essentially, in general, the thought is yes, our what you called our farm earlier, our farm is not, it doesn't produce a lot, right? We have a very different youth soccer system than Europe does. Like I mentioned earlier, you can have kids as early as 11 or 12 sign contracts to be within programs to be within eventually professional teams where they just do soccer. I mean, it's all soccer all the
Wow.
time. Um, they have soccer schools, not where you go. I mean, you go to learn soccer, yes, but where you can go and you can have your education, but it's all centered and it's all built in and around your football, your soccer football, um, training. It's just a whole different. I mean, that's kind of the general idea. Is just our youth system is a little broken, is a lot broken compared to theirs,
Okay.
which may or may not be a great thing, right? Like we definitely in the U.S. youth sports, like there is a trend towards specialization, but for all the complaints that we have about U.S. kids getting specialized in their sports too early, Europe has been doing this for a century
Yeah.
with soccer, right? They
Yeah.
have been. So that's kind of the general thought is that our youth system is just doesn't train the same way, for better or for worse, maybe. But that's kind
Okay.
of the idea.
Yeah, I mean, when I think about 11-year-olds being called up to say, "Hey, we want you to play for our country one day. We want you to commit your entire life to soccer." It's kind of a sad thought. Like, I guess, like, I mean, when I was an 11-year, and everybody's different, but when I was an 11-year-old, I think I still wanted to be a marine biologist, probably. Like, I like it's, and I haven't even got close to that, professionally. So it's like, I don't know. It's kind of sad for me to think about like a kid losing their formative years to a game, but that just sounds intense, I guess is all I'm saying.
It is intense,
So
but just start watching soccer, watch any league, any team, and then you'll start to appreciate the difference of World Cup class soccer. It is
yeah,
it's beautiful, it really is. And yes, people might have lost some of their childhood and dedicating so intensely to a sport, but you'll get um you'll get appreciation. It's hard when all you watch is the World Cup because that's sort of becomes what you think is the baseline. But if you just
yeah,
start watching, even in the U.S., if you start watching college soccer, there's a massive difference. The speed, the positioning of the players, it's all so intentional in World Cup soccer. Like
yeah.
those players are so sharp and so fast and know exactly where they need to be and have you know incredible control of the ball. So yeah, it is. I guess it is kind of sad in that respect, but it is a beautiful thing um, when you see some just it is the best most these are the best most well trained soccer players in the world, right? So
Yeah.
it's fun just to watch that. Even like you said, we're going to Congo and Uzbekistan, but I'm just excited to see because all these players, yes, they're from the Congo or from Uzbekistan, but again, they're playing in Europe, right? They're playing the big the big leagues in Europe, and so they're
Yeah.
all very good. And so that should be something that when you watch the World Cup, just try to appreciate if
The
you can
craft.
the craft.
Yeah, yeah,
Yes,
yeah.
appreciate the
Uh,
craft.
Cool.
Is that
Yeah,
that's
okay,
why they did it?
I can buy into that. Yeah. Well, I do that to dad all the time and it always throws off his vibe. I'm sorry, but I sometimes I talking about all these sports, I can't help but get existential a little bit about it. Just think, dang, like I don't know, it's crazy what athletes have to give up to excel at that highest level.
Absolutely,
Um,
yeah, absolutely.
so they probably
Watch
didn't
the
get to.
fans too. As you're scanning, watch as you're watching the game. Watch the fans and watch the passion. I think
Yeah,
we miss out on that a little in the U.S. I mean, maybe the closest we come to it is sort of NFL games and the like. But yeah, watch the passion that you see some fans from South America and Europe. Like it's almost their life too, right? Like
yeah.
it is very intense, but a lot of joy can come out of it.
Cool. Okay. Well, I kept you way longer than I promised. I'm so sorry. So, just one last question is who is okay, besides US, I imagine you're rooting for the US a little bit. Who would you like to see go all the way to the finals?
I am a francophone. I like Kylian Mbappe, so he's um, one of the top players on the French team. And I mentioned before they've made it to the finals um, the last two World Cups, so I think they have a pretty good shot at it. So yeah, if not the U.S., then I think I'm a French fan.
Okay. I should have known, but I wanted to, or I kind of did know, but I wanted to hear you say it on the record. So we will. Okay, wait,
Can I
and
say one
oh yeah,
last thing, Coop? One last thing.
yeah.
Sorry. When you're watching the games, look at the uniforms of the countries, and on top of their country will be stars, and each star represents a World Cup that they've won. So that's kind of
Oh,
fun to see,
cool.
like, like, look at Germany's jersey or, unfortunately, look at
Yeah.
the US, like, there's no stars there, right? So yeah, that's kind of a fun thing you can do while you watch as well.
Wow. Yeah, it's kind of like yeah. It's coming in with your ranking in the
Yes.
military or something. It's like your yeah, the gravitas of what you're of the team that you're representing. Um, I was gonna say, in all reality, do you have a prediction of who will win this year?
So there's a lot of parity, right? You can have predictions, but who knows what will happen, especially in the knockout stage. But I do have to favor Spain. They did just they won the Euros. They're looking very sharp. They haven't had much turnover. So it's pretty much the same team going into the World Cup. So yeah, I'd probably favor Spain if I were to put bets
España.
down.
Or I guess it's España. Is that how they say it?
España, yeah, yeah, yeah.
Oh yeah, but don't they do the th instead of the s with their Spanish? Pretty
Oh
sure.
yes, 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 yes.
Yeah, España.
And
Uh,
I think most betting entities have them slightly favored as well.
okay. All right. Well, very cool. Well, thanks, Caleb, so much for breaking it down and making your debut on SportSense. Yeah, we will definitely keep an eye out on this the next couple months.
Anytime.
All right, everyone. We'll catch you next week as we wrap up the Stanley Cup Finals and the NBA Finals and see who wins. So, see you next week. Bye.
Sports Sense.